Mă bucur foarte mult să vă văd pe toți. I'm really, really pleased to see everyone. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here for us. This is a fantastic opportunity for us to discuss how we're moving forward as a community. However, this is the first event where Romanian Association Doina Queensland is supporting the Academy, Australian Romanian Academy of Culture, headed by our lovely Daniel Ionita. He's somewhere hiding in the corner there. So we are here tonight to have a lovely immersive cultural experience with poetry and music from our treasure of cultural traditions. But before we start, I would like to acknowledge the Father Gabriel, who very generously has allowed us to use this wonderful venue of Russian Orthodox community, and Father Stephen, who is the head of the new Orthodox school that is going to be established here in Brisbane. You will have the opportunity to discuss with him later on after the show. A bit of housekeeping. In case of fire, please head that way. Assembly is in the car park. Toilets are just outside the door. If you follow on the right-hand side, follow the walls to the end. They're both ladies and male toilets. And well, if you have any questions, our lovely committee is here to help you. Otherwise, enjoy this wonderful opportunity to hear and immerse yourself in music and poetry. Please switch off your phones and enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aurelia. Aurelia called me lovely. She should talk to my wife. I'm really happy for this joint event, which is the first event of the Doina Romanian Association in Queensland, to be co-hosted by the Australian Romanian Academy. I'll say a few more words about the Academy after later on, but for now, I'm really glad to see you all here. Thankful to Father Gabriel who made this venue available to us, and hopefully we'll all have a good time and we'll do it again. That's my hope, that this is one first of many. So welcome. some 5 years ago, on the occasion of celebrating 100 years of Romania's existence as a state, at the State Library of New South Wales in Sydney, we had a celebration, and both Maria and Aliona, or Helen, as you know her, were present there and graced us with their talent. I must say that I was amazed at what I heard today. I hope you were too. Maria is going to participate in a flute competition in a few years' time, and very soon she'll go to Thailand for Kids Star International. Part of the revenue raised this afternoon is going to go to help her with that quest. So give it again to them. They were absolutely. Thank you again. Awesome stuff. And thank you, Kathy Sanders, for accompanying them. Thank you. Hopefully we'll do this again. Now, I need to give you a bit of context about what's going on this afternoon. Obviously, you saw the program and kind of have a view of what's going to happen, but I think context is important. And I need to perhaps talk about a couple of things. One is 2.2 kilograms of a door stopper, or you can read it as a book. It contains 1,180 pages of 400 years of Romanian poetry, from its origins, where there were no authors, popular ballads. Ballads or? Ballads, yeah? Yes. Ballads, yes, thank you. Daniel is on the cover. He is one of the main technical assistants with the translation, along with Adriana Poleneva-Foster, as well as Rochelle Hughes. So over the last 10 years, we just looked at the calendar, it has been about 13 years, but 10 years since we first published, we gathered together the best of Romanian poetry, and with the help of literary critics in Romania as well as here in Australia, we put together what we think is probably the best, humbly speaking, representation of Romanian poetry in the English language. By the way, the volume has received the Antoaneta Aralian Prize for Translation given by the International Gaudeamus Book Festival in Bucharest in 2019. Now, I started from this end, and I guess it's been a long journey from me trying to translate a few poems from Romanian into English, because my daughter, who at that time was starting to study English and trying to become a teacher, was interested in literature, and I thought I'd like to share with her, in fact with all my children, some of the best of Romanian poetry. And I translated, I found out that I'm kind of good at it. Translated a few poems, starting with Octavian Goga and then some Eminescu and a few others. I presented them through a series of fortuitous events to the chief publisher of the Minerva publishing house in Bucharest, Ana Munteanu, who came up with the idea of doing an anthology. She checked with an American linguist and translator, verified that the translations kind of sound okay in English, they don't sound like non-poetry, and decided to support us. And we've worked with Minerva for many, many years. And outside Romania, through the Australian Romanian Academy for Culture. Yes, Daniel? Who wants my attention? Sorry?
Înainte ca să plece pianista noastră, acasă vreau să vă mulțumim pentru că v-ați adunat astăzi. Eu sunt Aliona Cigulea, Helen Brereton aici în Australia, pentru cei care nu știu, profesoră de vioară, violinistă și voluntar pentru comunitatea română. Dacă aveți evenimente, petreceri, festivaluri, chemați-mă, vin să cânt cu mare plăcere și aduc și alți artiști. For those who don't know me, I'm Helen Brereton, and I want to thank Daniel Ionita for gathering us here tonight. Thank you. Without you, we would have had this wonderful event. Thank you.
My name is Maria, and I would like to say a big thank thank you to Danielle for organizing this event and for inviting me. And I really want to say thank you for all of you guys for being a very supportive audience. Vreau să vă zic că mulțumesc frumos pentru ați făcut evenimentul ăsta și mulțumesc că ați ascultat.
I'd just like to say I've never been in here before, and this is the most beautiful place. You're also lucky. It's just like a little piece of Europe in here, isn't it? And thank you for having me come and play today. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sure I'll be seeing this young lady and her mother again at some point. But thank you all very much.
Our lovely performance, Aliona or Helen Brereton, who's an absolute wonderful supporter of our community and such a gifted musician. We always love to have you. And for Maria, well, for you all to know, this show has been started, and with all our heart we'd like to support her quest in representing Australia at Started Kids International, and most of the proceeds that will be left over from this show and everything we can gather will be donated to Maria to help her with everything we can and realize her dream. Thank you, everyone. And Kathy, darling, we are so grateful that you could come here and do the rehearsal and help Maria record a beautiful piece as a showcase. Hopefully we're going to have the opportunity to see this on YouTube, and everyone hopefully will have the opportunity to enjoy in quiet at home in their own in the privacy of your own recording studio. Thank you so much, and I'll leave it with Danielle.
Thank you very much. Something in the program. Well, thank you very much, Aliona and Maria. As I said, we cooperated with them in the past, and I'm sure it will happen again in the future. From the book and poetry, which has been presented to in Australia, seen in Melbourne, and now today it's Brisbane's turn. The starting spark, and here I guess is the segue into the music that is going to happen soon. Started with, I'm not sure how many of you remember the folk songs of singers, songwriters such as Nico Alifantis or Adrian Ivanitsky or Mircea Baniciu or Valeriu Sterian. Yeah. So I've been out of Romania. I left Romania in 1980 as a 20-year-old, and I kind of left with that music. I never attended a flacăra playing seminar. Adea Cornescu and his politics, I respect him enormously as a poet, but his politics were never part of my, I didn't resonate with that. However, in the long drives that you have to do in Australia, with my kids, wife and children in the car, I listened to the music, and somehow that helped starting to translate. If you feel the musicality of the poem, and you hear it on music, it's a lot easier, at least for me, to transpose it into English and to translate it. So the music of these composers, who by the way, or singer-songwriters, who by the way picked up some of the best Romanian poems, not just of the classics, but also of the contemporary poets, that are just as good as the old ones, Eminescu, Alghezi, and so on. They picked up some of the best poems. So that provided an inspiration for me to be able to start translating and making things work in English as poetry, rather than just, trying to tell a poem, to speak a poem as prose. So music has played a very, very big role. Just a few more words about the Australian Romanian Academy, and then we'll go into the music and the poetry, which we are here, all here for. Some 9 years ago, we decided together with a few writers, musicians, visual artists, to put together the pompously known Australian Romanian Academy for Culture. And while it has an impressive name, I wouldn't call it absolutely earth-shattering. However, what we have achieved is what we set out to achieve, and that is promoting Romanian culture in Australia and going the other way as well, promoting Australian culture in Romania. So there are articles produced every 3 months about Australian writers, poets, etc., which are published in the Leviathan literary magazine, as well as other literary magazines in Romania, as well as Romanian writers and Australian writers producing together bilingual volumes. You can see some, or can talk to me about them at the end. So the idea is to bring together the Romanian culture and Australian culture, and get them to talk, get them to interact, get them to perform a dialogue, which otherwise they wouldn't be. I mean, who would care about a country 17,000 kilometers away, unless you happen to be a migrant from that country living in Australia. So what we try to do is get the cultural message or the cultural dialogue to happen in both directions. And with this, I think I'm going to invite Daniel to... No, it's you. Yes. Since I missed properly introducing Aliona and Maria, let me properly introduce Daniel Redo. So Daniel and I have worked on this, as I said, for the last 10, 12 years. Daniel is a historian, professor of history at Avondale University. However, he has a passion for literature and language and words. He's also into languages or literature, correct? Yeah. And has been of great help in making sure that stuff that doesn't quite sound well in English is ironed out, and the poems sound as real poems in English. He also happens to be very talented musically, so some of those songs that I was talking to you about, you'll hear them, but in English this time.
Thank you, Daniel. So when Daniel was working on this project, he recognised what many people do when they're operating in a second language. I mean, you've heard him, he's extremely fluent, he's written in English quite a bit. There's always that last 2 or 3%. And he was smart enough to get several people in as collaborators to work on the translations to make them work well in English. So the process was, Daniel would come up with the first draft of the translation, and then he would email the 3 collaborators, of which I was one, and we'd read through it and critique it. Now, it hasn't always been the same 3. I'm one of 2 who've always been there, but the third one's shifted at times. A couple of the others actually do speak Romanian to varying degrees. I don't. I'm an Australian-born Frenchman. Yes, and Daniel's had the grace to overlook my Frenchness. But it was a case of reading through the poems and going, without knowing Romanian, how does this sound in English? How does it work? And so we'd each produce our suggested edits, we'd email them back to Daniel, and then when we collected, I don't know, 50 or 80, we'd get together on one day and we'd go through them poem by poem. We'd project them on the wall and we'd argue the case for the changes that we each felt ought to go in. And it was an amazing dynamic because the solutions we came up with were something quite often that none of us as individuals had thought of. But there was a dynamic in the translation, and that's why I think this translation really stands out, because of that work across a number of people with different expertises. And I can tell you how much fun it was. Now, as you figured out, I'm Australian born, French parents, French was my first language. I've always been interested in the dialogue between languages and between cultures, because I was raised in an Australia that did not like non-Anglos. That was a life of sympathy, wasn't it? You understand. Now, I was lucky because being French has always been prestigious, even in Anglo cultures. But nevertheless, we were foreigners, we were made to feel so. So how do you translate? And poetry is the trickiest thing to translate, because it's not just words, it's rhythm, it's all the connotations of the words, all of those resonances that sit around particular words. And what happens when you get multiple resonances from a sequence of words? You know, Romanian creates a certain mood, a feel. How do you do that when you're translating into English? And so it was a wrestle. It's not a finished product. We're still going, oh, that line's always bugged me. That word is always annoying. Ah, there's the one we want. So we're still doing it as a dynamic. I guess Daniel got me involved because I have that bilingual experience. And knowing French meant that there were times when I felt I understood the Romanian a little bit, vocabulary being a bit similar. I've also taught literature for a number of years. I began as an English media specialist before I switched to history. So English literature is something I'm familiar with. I'm a musician, a songwriter. But I think the real reason he picked me was because I married his sister. And I can't speak for the Yonitsa family, but I have never regretted it. So, when it came time to begin promoting this work in various book launches, Daniel asked me if I would look at singing some of the English translations of songs that great Romanian musicians had built around some of these great poems that Daniel's already talked about. And it was in the course of doing that as a musician I began to run into some little difficulties with some of the translations. They read well, but they didn't always sing well. And this is the ongoing dynamic when you're trying to say something in another language. You know, I have this experience in French. I remember my dad coming out to me, he was doing his doctorate in French existentialist literature, and he'd say to me, "What's the French word for X?" You know? You go, how would I know? You speak French far better than me. Words don't have natural equivalences, as you all know. And trying to find the words to make it work as a song was an additional challenge. And so you'll find that some of the songs I do today have got slightly different wording from the printed text, because the text works as a poem, but we need it to work as a song as well. I just want to say how important this project is. As a student of literature, I did literature as part of my degree through university, and as I said, I worked as an English lecturer for well over a decade. We focus on English literature, on American literature. We finally got the guts in Australia to focus on Australian literature. For a long time, Australian literature wasn't good enough. And then we look at literatures from other parts of the world, particularly European literature. And you know, I was taught some French literature, some German literature, Norwegian, Russian. But there's this incredible gap that runs from north to south in Europe of all the little countries wedged between the big countries. Finland, of Czech, Slovak, Hungarian, Romanian, all the way down to the Balkans. And it's easy to forget those little countries because they're the putty in the wars fought by the big countries. And listening to Romanian poetry made me realise that there is a voice there that we need to hear. That Romanian poetry speaks in two ways to English-speaking people. First of all, it's the universal. To discover that there are people on the opposite side of the world whose experiences, whose emotions resonate with mine. To build that empathy, that understanding. Surely in the world we're living in right now, where conflict is increasing, the ability to hear someone else's voice and go, I relate to that. That is my experience too. We are collectively sharing human being experience. So there's the universal experience, and Romanian poetry needs to speak to English audiences who, I'm quite sure you'll agree with me, tend to be tone deaf to anything not English. You agree? The second thing is the particular. Because in reading Romanian poetry, I bump into things that I haven't experienced as an Australian or as a Frenchman. Things that are uniquely Romanian. And that is a beautiful experience. And I think that Daniel's work of poetry translation is actually a very rich gift to Anglophone society, which will probably never learn Romanian, which overwhelmingly is unaware of Romania. But now we have these poems speaking Romanian feelings, Romanian thoughts, Romanian moods to English ears. And that to me is the beauty of this project.
I'd like now to invite Elena Romanescu, who is going to grace us with another beautiful piano piece by Burgmüller, I believe. Yes? Correct? Please welcome.
you're welcome. I'm going to start with a song that gave me the most trouble. And it wasn't so much the words. Daniel suggested I try this song multiple times and send me the music, and I just couldn't get the hang of it. And that continued until I bumped into a word that I don't know, you here in Brisbane, the Romanian community, might know. It's doina. And when I had a look at what doina means, my mind went straight to this song, Adolescence, and I go, there's the key. So I stopped trying to play it like an Australian. And this song doesn't follow strictly the doina tradition, but what it does do, that it borrowed from doina, is not worry too much about strict rhythm and timing. It's kind of a bit relaxed. And now it's one of my favourite songs. Winden grows and we were just 18, street with chestnut trees and wattle green. In the spring on a resurrected lake, days kissed by memories awake. In the spring on the resurrected lake, days kissed by memories awake. Upon the golden sand of beaches laid, laurel crowns for us the sun has made. My girl, of Danube and of whispers, my girl, of raven midnight tresses, girl with a waist like a violin. Where was our Latin book again? Random scribbles on ablative lines, distich made of halting naive rhymes. Willows, arched cathedrals weeping, our boat had strayed, was slowly creeping to a land of silences and sighs, thoughts like seagulls soaring through the skies. A kiss so ardently embraced, her lips of wild blackberry taste, crimson tangy, sweet bitter leap, anaphora rising from the deep. Upon the golden sand of beaches laid, laurel crowns for us the sun has made. My girl of Danube and of whispers, my girl of raven midnight tresses. No, we can't forget our love, though we try. It will never fade, will never die. Groves of chestnut trees and dreams of green, wind and sand, and we were just 18. No, we can't forget our love, though we try. It will never fade, will
never die. Groves of chestnut trees and dreams of green, wind and sand, and we were just 18. Wind and sand. I just love this next song, UNESCO. It is the equal of any of the anti-war protest music that was developed in English across England or the United States. It is just an absolute gem of a song. And I don't care if you don't enjoy it, because I just love it. Civilian things are few, there's no reprieve. These rainy times with soldiers beating drums, we don't have days, just military leave. And babies jump saluting from their mums. The clocks sound like soldiers' boots this morning. They screech on jilted barrels and it stings. For 30 wars start monthly without warning, and all are carrying death in their wings. Even death has lost its charm, boys. These rainy times of drills and conscript days, beneath the linden trees, the arms make noise, while stars are gunning us with death-filled rays. It's easy to acknowledge, though it rankles, that like a yoke, you feel it on the way. The fact that from one's conscience down to one's ankles, a man is just a uniform today. Civilian things are scarce and hard to tell. For even heartaches lack civilian beat, and stern recruitment seems to walk your way. For sheepish, tame civilians in defeat, but truth is smile, it's resurrection mass, when babies jump saluting from their mums. As per the statute, to salute their brothers in rainy times with soldiers beating drums. going to give you an illustration of some of the interesting challenges in translating a poem from Romanian into English and then making it work as a song. For those of you who are bilingual, you will hear that there are some differences, and part of that, as David's pointed out multiple times, is that Romanian is a very polysyllabic language. Its words, 3, 4, 5 beats, whereas all the key poetry words in English are 1, 2 syllables. So sometimes we've had to find extra words in English to make it work in Romanian. Can you hear the guitar at the back?
Era într-un april, mi-aduc aminte, prin 970 și cât.
It was sometime in April, I remember, in 1970 something, I forget.
Aveam un suflet plin de o seminte și îngropat în spaimă și urât.
The soul was full of bones, like crimson amber. Beneath the fear and boredom and the fret.
La hanul umbrei de-i ziceam mongolul, cu vinuri vechi, cu dam și marafet.
And at the Mongols in shadows beauty, with good old wines and scent and no regret.
Veni o oră când mi-am dat obolul iubirii pentru gureșa cochet.
There came a time I had to pay my duty of love towards that chatterbox coquette. Beneath the sunset of her eyebrows parting, I yearned for my first worship to progress, from which her mouth would lazily be starting the nightly bout of passion to undress. She carried in her eyes a sad carnation, which lingered on the seconds passing by, and thus proclaimed my fall into temptation, the teary fingers, twilight in the sky. Where's the cockle shell her ear was forming, which rested on her temple sleepy tress, and where for her my voice tried performing a poet's song of velvety caress, and where the rounded shape and languid frailty of words for which we oftentimes would pine, and where her bosom vanquished shy and dainty, and where her lovely ankles starry shine. And where her thighs angelic adumbration, and where is her surrender's white regret, where the hour cast beyond creation, but love towards that chatterbox coquette.
versuri de Horia Bădescu, poet care anul trecut, 2022, a primit premiul Mihai Eminescu pentru literatură, cel mai important premiu literar din România, și pe care am avut ocazia și privilegiul de a-l avea la lansarea acestui volum la Cluj, acum 3 ani. Înainte de asta a fost Antirăzboinica, inimitabilul lui Adrian Păunescu, pe melodie de Valeriu Sterian. Și prima melodie a fost Micu Dragomir, Adolescență, Aurelia Dumitrașcu, parcă se numește cea care l-a făcut cunoscut. Acum o să vă recit un poem. Bineînțeles că dacă începem cu poezie și discutăm despre poezia românească, e musai să începem cu Eminescu, altfel probabil că voi fi crucificat și nu am valențe de mântuitor. Așa că o să încep cu Eminescu. Câți dintre dumneavoastră cunosc glosa? Câțiva. I'm going to recite a poem by Romanian's national poet, Mihai Eminescu, regarded as the most influential in Romanian poetry, called Gloss. Now, we have musicians here, and for example, I could compare Gloss with Paganini's Caprice number 24, for those of you who know music. It's not a very deep piece. Some regard it as very deeply philosophical. I don't think so. I think it's a superficial piece, but it is giving Eminescu the chance to show his amazing wordsmithing talent as a romantic poet. Now, I'm only going to read it in English, although maybe I'll start with just the first verse in Romanian. Vreme trece, vreme vine, toate-s vechi și nouă toate. Ce rău și ce e bine, tu te întreabă și s-o poate. Nu spera și nu ai teamă, ce val trece. Te îndeamnă, te cheamă, tu rămâi la poate. Time is passing, time comes yet. All is old and all is new. What for good or ill is set, you can ponder and construe. Do not hope and do not worry. What's a wave will wave away, though enticing with a flurry. Cool remain to all they say. One lonely breath for you, but for him whose understanding all is old and all is new. Entertained by actors playing in this world you self-depict. Though four roles one is portraying, his true face you can predict. If he weeps or if he's fighting, you just watch him without fret and deduce from his inciting what for good or ill is set. Past and future go together, the two faces of a coin. You can tell tomorrow's weather if you know the two, if you learn the two to join. All that was and all that follows, in this moment we see true, or the false and empty hollows we can ponder and construe. The same means this world is using to constrain in all she fashions, and for 1,000 years suffusing joy and sadness duly rations. Other masks, the same old drama. Other mouths, the same old story. Discontent are their conformance. Do not hope and do not worry. Do not hope because some cheater wrestles to successes daily. Idiots will have you beaten, though you show them off already. Do not fret because forever ostentatious they display. Don't resemble them, don't blather. What's a wave will wave away. Like some charming siren calling, this world's luring and inviting. Other actors, when they're falling, it wants you to do their fighting. Move aside, it's just deception. Pass them by, away you scurry. From your path, make no exception, though enticing with a flurry. Should they touch you? Get some distance. Should they curse you? Keep your polish. Why advise and show persistence when you know they just demolish? Let them blather on forever. Doesn't matter what they say. Don't grow fond of them. Be clever. Cool remain to all they say. Cool remain to all they say, though enticing with a fire. What's a hope? What's a wave will wave away. Do not hope and do not worry. You can ponder and construe what for good or ill is said. All is old and all is new. Time is passing. Time comes guilty.
Fortunate to tour Romania with Daniel in 2019 when we were launching the book and to perform in a number of places at the launch, singing in English of course. But probably the highlight for me was in Brasov where Niku Alafantis joined us. And you probably know his signature song, the Djembe. He asked me to sing it in English. And I thought I was doing the first verse, and then when I got to the end of it, he waved me on to the second, and then the third. Look, for an amateur musician from Australia to be singing the song of one of the greats of Romania, that was a very special experience. And a week later, he invited me to the studio where I put down an English vocal over his backing track. So, December. I sing this song to prove that I can hum in flawless Romanian. Come on, you know it. Sorry. Behold how December is snowing. Just gaze at the windows, my darling. Please tell them to bring some more kindling to hear how the fire is snowing. My arm gently shifting the wood stove. The stone through the chimney is roaring. Or maybe my days altogether. Pray teach me this infernal story. Help me get the accent. Tell them to bring me the teapot. Come closer to me, do not wander. Just read me a tale from the Arctic. The snowland tumors deep under. How warm is your place, how becoming. And all in your house seems so holy. Behold how December is snowing. Don't laugh, just read ahead slowly. Days to live are darkness. Please tell them to bring me a lamp. Behold the snows high like the fence now, and creeping up over the camp. not going home for the evening. The stage advancing, receding. Behold how December is snowing. Don't laugh, remain calm, keep on reading.
Seara e plecarea în insula mea. Trăsura de nu te așteaptă la scară. Ia-ți haine mai groase și nu întârzia, căci prin polițici s-ar putea să apară. Nu-ți face probleme, deja nu e mort. Și cai sunt mort și trăsura e moartă. Fugind fără martori, nu știu ce port, în insula mea, la 5 capete spartă.
Tonight we depart for the shore of my island. Coach made of walnut is waiting, my dear. Remember to wear some warm clothes and a guard, and rush for police dogs who want to appear. Don't worry about it, the driver is dead. The horses are dead too, so is the carriage. We'll run without trace from this harbor of dread to my five-headed island awaiting our marriage. Don't worry about it, the driver is dead. The horses are dead too, and so is the carriage. We'll raise ugly children on that island that festers, steel-branded bodies lock dirt through their gills, with stories they'll bore us of long-gone ancestors, with splashing wet corpses, telegraph drills. We'll take many pictures, but only to show, to send them away for the world to observe. Like models, we'll spread their three eyes in the snow. The bold eye will keep for the house and preserve. We'll take many pictures, but only for show, to send them away for the world to observe. I'm waiting for you, it's the middle of summer, the middle of winter. How strange is this tale? Don't speak, for the climb in the chill makes you stammer. Carriage seems dead, so why should you wait? Oh, it's just an illusion, I'm over the fence, with 4,000 candles and waiting for you. Don't fret, for the white snow is just a pretense, and the house guards keep you to the smoking out you. It's just an illusion, and I'm over the fence, with 4,000 candles and waiting for you. Do not linger, come sing me a song. The trial is suitably to death for our marriage. The witnesses wait on the island, no throng. The suit is of walnut, I'm almost carriage. The face I just found, if it's gone by the morning, it might be a gale, a tempest that blows. For I am the mound of the freshest of tunes. More frosty your step will become without warning, So this is all where the party at last, the ghost of the carriage rings mute from the past.
Orașul, în cadrilul de Mucava, trăia înfricoșat la cinema, iar străzile duceau poveri de șoapte doar între pauze la 5 și 7.
The city danced a paperboard quadrille in cinemas and scared against their will. The streets were bearing whispers as they burned, just between the breaks at 5 and 7. The square where famous Swabians would gather, lit off beneath a towering mailbag, with cellars and a furrowed like a house, and early trains that rushed along its bars. Along the blue train stations, we'd be smiling, lips in the glasses, limpid, so beguiling. We'd laugh and talk of life as it went past. The fish were watching us behind the glass. The fish were watching us behind the glass. Join me. La 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 la. The words aren't hard. La That evening when a tender cloud of blue was mirroring a barking worsted crow, the Swabian doctors lovingly put down the sick ones lying in the baobab. The square where famous Swabians would gather, lit off beneath the towering baobab, with cellars and a furrowed like a house, and pearly trains that rushed along its boughs. Along the blue train stations, we'd be smiling, lips in the glasses, limpid, so beguiling. We'd laugh and talk of life as it went past. The fish were watching us behind the glass. The fish were watching us behind the glass. You know it now. La 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 la
music by Equalifantis. We then had the Illusion of Ireland, Iluzia unei insule, Adrian Polescu, and I think Valeria Sterian wrote the music, and finally Leonid Dimov, one of the most underrated Romanian poets, a great symbolist with the music by Alifantis again. Thank you. Now, a poem which has puzzled me because it's an amazing poem. It's on par with anything UNESCO or IPSC has ever written. But it's a lonely diamond in the poetry written by Ștefan Augustin Doinaș. Romanians will probably know what I'm talking about. The Silver Fang Boar, or Mistrețul cu colț de argint. And I guess to me it speaks about an obsession, and it's good to have goals, but obsessions, if you are not careful, they can kill you.
Like poetry translation.
Yes, if this falls on my head, I'm pretty sure I'll be dead. So, I'm going to read it to you, just a second. First in Romanian and then in English. Un prinț din Levant, îndrăgit vânătoarea prin inima neagră de codul trecea, croindu-și cu greu prin lățișul cărarea, cânta dintr-un flaudelos și zicea: veniți să vânăm prin păduri nepătrunse, mistrețul cu colț de argint fioros, ce zilnic își schimbă în scorburi ascunse, popita și blană și ochiul sticlos. Stăpâne, ziceau servitorii cu goarne, Islesul acela nu trece pe aici, nu vine pe aici. Mai bine să batem vânatul cu coarne, ori vulpile roșii, ori iepurii mici, dar prințul, trecând zâmbitor înainte, privea printre arbori atent la culori, lăsând în culcuș căprioara cu minte, ori linsul ce râde cu scribitor. Sub fagi, el dădea buruiala într-o parte. Priviți cum se învârte, făcându-ne semn mistrețul cu colț de argint, nu departe, veniți să lovim cu săgeata de lemn. Stăpâne, e apa jucând sub copaci, zicea servitorul privindu-l isteț. Dar el răspundea întorcându-se. Și apa scripea ca un colț de destreț. Sub ul, el zorea risipite al aer. Priviți cum pufnește și scurmă stânghier mistrețul cu colț de argint peste plaiul. Veniți să lovim cu săgeata de fier. Stăpâne, e iarba foșnind sus copaci, zicea servitorul zâmbind îndrăzneț, dar el răspundea întorcându-se. Taci. Și apa scripea ca un colț de mistreț. Sub braz, el striga îndemnându-se spre creste. Priviți cum își află o lignă și loc mistrețul cu colț de argint din poveste. Veniți să lovim cu săgeata de foc. Stăpâne, e luna, lucind sub copaci, zicea servitorul râzând cu dispreț. Dar el răspunde întorcându-se. Taci și luna scripea ca un colț de mistreț. Dar vai, sub luceperii palizai bolții, cum sta în amur la izvor a plecat, veni un mistreț uriaș și cu colții îl trase să-l bate prin fondul roșcat. Ce fiară ciudată, montă de sânge oprind vânătoarea mistrețului meu, ce pasăre neagră stă în lună și plânge, ce vește de frunză mă bate mereu. Stăpâne, mistrețul cu colț ca argintul, chiar el te-a cuprins vrăhăit sus copaci. Ascultă cum latră poporii gonindu, dar prințul răspunse zbătându-se. Mai bine ia corul și sună luna, să suni până mor către cerul senin. Atunci asfințitul vorbește de luna și corul sună însă foarte puțin. How the English is faring now. I think I'm giving you a fair comparison here. Let's see what you think about this. And I know to Romanians, the Romanian version will always sound better. There's no way around it. Let's see how the English sounds, especially to those of you who don't know Romanian. The Silver Fang Boar by Ștefan Augustin Doinaș. A Levantine prince, quite enamored with hunting, some dark-hearted forests was traveling through, and making his path with great effort and grunting, he said, while on bone fruit he merrily grew, let's hunt through these forests, untrodden and daunting. The silver-fanged boar was ferocious and wild, who changes his fur every day as he's molting, and changes his hooves and his glass eye reviled. Oh, master, the servants with trumpets would say, that bloodthirsty boar does not travel to me. It's better to chase down the antlers to slay, or red-colored foxes, or hares that are near. But smiling and certain, the prince passed ahead and carefully gazing up trees and the hues, he left in his lair the young deer full of dread, and the sparkly-eyed lynx would smile for a ruse. Through beech woods he trampled old weeds to the ground. Just look how he turns. We have closed in for good on this silver-fanged boar. Not too far, heed his sound. Come over, let's hunt him with arrows of wood. My lord, it's the stream through the woods, tall and lush, the smart servant said, as he laughed with a roar. But the prince turned around and replied only, hush. And the water did shine like the fang of a boar. Under elm trees, it hastened his scattered old train. You see how he's puffing alone and unreal, this silver-fanged boar over meadow and plain? Come over, let's hit him with arrows of steel. My lord, it's the grass that with boots we would brush, the bold-looking servant would say like before. But the prince turned around and replied only, hush. And the glistening grass seemed like fangs of a boar. And the firs, he would cry, pushing them to the peak. You see how he's finding his lair and shire, the boar from old tales or from old people speak. Come over, let's hit him with arrows of fire. My lord, it's the moonlight which night fears can't watch, the servant said laughing, despising and sore. But turning around, the prince only said, shh. And the moonlight shone bright like the fangs of a boar. Alas, under rays of the pale stars at dusk, as he crouched for a drink, his knees slowly sagged. There charged a huge boar with his piercing sharp tusks, and the prince to the red dust he savagely dragged. What strange-looking beast, so bloodthirsty and vicious, is stopping the hunt for my silver-fanged boar? What black bird is crying in the moonlight so listless? What wilted old grief shakes my soul to the core? My master, that boar with the fangs as of silver, that same had you pierced, and with blood you're awash. The dogs chase it now, can't you hear by the river? But turning, the prince whispered quietly, hush. You take the old horn and just blow without pause to sound till I'm dead to the sky clear and cry. Right then, from the ridges, a big moon arose, and the horn made its sound for a very short time.
The privilege of learning the right chords for this song from a couple of Goldaraki who sadly died a year or so after I met in 2019.
De-aia dormi, iubito pe linia ferată, îmbujurat de trenuri rocolind pictil. Din cer au să ningă balonuri mari de vată. Vor fi beții de robă, se va dansa ca de el. Mircea Dinescu, Cătălin Bădurache, Daniel Reu.
If you would sleep, my darling, on train tracks to and fro, the blushing trains will whisper on tiptoe while you're still. Huge bales of cotton candy, the heavens will be snowy. We'll all be drunk with you, milk and dancing a quadrille. We'll all be drunk with you, milk and dancing a quadrille. An angel will be coming from high ancient railways to iron out your sleep time with peacock feathers light. large sequoia forests they'll plant on lonely byways, and markets will spread gratis, so bubbles big and bright. And markets will spread gratis, so bubbles big and bright. The Sunday hail will conquer Siberia's frozen steep. The snow to sizzle slowly all over ostrich heads, and then frigid barracks your ashes are sweeping. The pillowed cheeks of sad recruits crying in their beds. The pillowed cheeks of sad recruits crying in their beds. But you don't sleep, my darling, on the railways old and shoddy, where trains with slag and chlorine are always passing by. They miss the perfect beauty of maiden's sweet fresh body. They always leave me weeping, for they sake I sigh. They always leave me weeping, for they sake I sigh. With my left hand, I turned your face toward me. Beneath the tent of the sleepy quince tree. And if my gaze could leave your eyes and wander, the sweep of evening sky would velvet be. Fathoming through branches, strong hunters chasing lions in their might, on horseback pulling strings of bows and arrows, or stretch your left hand and let them go tonight. Extinguish the thin frame of musty window, with all its twigs and branches set afire, to climb under moonlight on wild horses and wantonly pursue their own desire. Gazing at your eyes, round as trees away, the moon and me reflecting into your eyes. Your eyelashes could crush us as you gaze, absent-minded, but gently my hand turns your face to mine. Gazing at your eyes, round as trees away, the moon and me reflecting into your eyes. Your eyelashes could crush us as you gaze, absent-minded, but gently my hand turns your face to mine. Gently, my hand turns your face to mine. an Escal poem, set to music by Nicola Funtus. The next one is an Escal poem, music by Madalena. I can never sing or hear this song without being transported to some of the Moldovan villages I visited on my trips to Romania, where you know, the cows walk themselves home at night with the bells around their necks, and the hay wains drive through, and the people sit on their benches and talk to their neighbours down the street sitting on their bench. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? This is such an evocative poem for me. People in this neighbourhood, it seems that God abides across their yards with firewood. They take their little strides. The peace of heaven they convey in everything they do. They pamper horses with some hay and sheep their fodder too. Love in all they do, they surely have no fear. As clear their soul to heaven's blue keeps rising so sincere. Sometimes when the flame is low, the humble home so small sees Christ descend, his heart aglow. Icons on the wall. A goat is barking on the door and breaks a horn apart. The drawing of the chimney smoke makes curling works of art. The flapping slats along the fence can startle like a bell. From their arms the kindling flares with a mysterious spell. The moaning snowstorms disappear in sparkling clouds entrancing. They hover gently through the air like radiant spirits dancing. Sometimes when the flame is low, humble home so small sees Christ descend, his heart aglow from icons on the wall. This mystery, a breath divine, the village does convey. 3 parts in heaven do recline, and only one in clay. Peasant or angel, what they are, it isn't understood. Those who faithfully each day bring home firewood, and all the while with growing hope they fan their fire bright. But God, when visiting their dreams to warm himself at night, Sciuneo la focuri, in casa los hermano, Iisus, unde șapului, coboară din icoană. Sciuneo la focuri, in casa los hermano, Iisus, unde șapului, coboară din icoană. See how the swallows leave our town. Dead walnut leaves are shaken down. The vineyard's frosting down and glum. Why won't you come? Why won't you come? Breathe fall again in my embrace, and ardent I'll be The world is full of lovely girls with fiery eyes that shine like pearls, but be they angels to my view, they can't be you, they can't be you. You brighten up my day and night, and take my soul to sweet delight. Beside you stars have lost their sheen, my lovely queen, my lovely queen. Late autumn now rises grey, dead leaves are falling in our way. The meadows play a sad old strum. Why won't you come? Why won't you come?
De Carl Decker, pe versurile lui Mihai Ionescu și înainte de asta a fost 3 sferturi de cer, Adrian Paunescu pe muzica de Madalina Amon, and I forgot what was there before. Doesn't matter. You said you did. This next poem is regarded by many as a subtle satire written during communist times by Marie Sorescu about, you know, the government who was setting all of these unachievable targets for agriculture or industry without ever giving you the resources to be able to achieve them. Let's hope you appreciate Sorescu's satire. I do. Out of the blue, the Lord says to me one morning over coffee, what would you take with you if you were to commute daily between heaven and hell to teach some courses? That's easy, I say, Lord. A book, a bottle of wine, and a woman. It is not too much to ask. It's too much. God witnesses into his coffee. We'll cut out the woman. She'll keep you talking and fill your head with all sorts of rubbish, and you won't be able to prepare for your lesson. I implore you, I said, cut out the book, I'll write it myself. It's too much. Then, cut out the bottle of wine. It will keep me awake and I won't be able to write my courses. No, it's too much, God says. Minutes pass, maybe eternities. I think God is thinking that I'll forget about it. Then one day, what would you take with you if you were to teach some courses in heaven and hell and have to commute daily? A woman, my Lord, it's not too much. It's too much. You pig-headed you. I've told you so many times. Then I say, I'm getting annoyed at this stage. Cut out the courses, cut out heaven, cut out hell. Either everything or nothing. How am I going to frighten sinners in hell if I don't have the woman as teaching material to show to them? How would I uplift the righteous in heaven if I don't have a book to interpret from? And how would I brave the differences in temperature, luminosity, and pressure between heaven and hell if I don't have a bottle of wine to give me courage? And, by the way, you pay for your next coffee next time, if it's not too much. The poet and literary critic who graced us with the preface at the Australian version of the volume. The Romanian version was prefaced by literary critic Alex Ștefănescu. Martin Langford noticed something interesting and he spoke to me about it. He said, I didn't expect, especially in contemporary Romanian poetry, like the second part of the volume is contemporary after 1950, to still have so many spiritual, religious poems. In Australia, this battle has long been has long happened. We are a secular society, and no self-respecting publishing house has ever published any kind of religious poetry of any kind. I'm not making, by the way, this is my comment, I'm not making a value judgment here. This is Martin Langford kind of expressing his view. So I'm going to read you a couple of these poems, if you don't mind. One of them is by Radujir, and it's called Last Night, Jesus. And it's written, the context, he was imprisoned, not because of his religion, but because he used to be the head of the Iron Guard, the fascist group in this region. However, he had a conversion in prison, and he wrote this poem, among many other excellent religious poems. Last night Jesus came and he entered my cell. Oh, how lofty and sad seemed Christ. The moon, which followed him into the cell, made taller and sadder the sacrifice. His hands looked like lilies on gloomy tombstones. His eyes dark like sunless woodlands. The moon on his garment shone silvery tones, and silver like scars on his hands. Amazed, I jumped under my sheet. From whence are you, Lord? From what time? He touched his lips with a finger, discreet, to be silent to me, in mine. He sat down on my carpet dust. On my wounds put your hand, feel the scars. His ankles bore shadows of wounds and of rust, as if dragging shackles and bars. He sighed as he rested his weary deep bones on my rug full of burning, foul black. The moonlight was throwing long, sinister tones like rods on the snow of his back. The cell seemed a mountain, a forehand so grand. Tribes of lice and of rats ruled this field. I felt how my head fell on my hand, and to 1,000 years' sleep I was wearied. Later, when I awoke, the queer darkness was gone, and the hay was fragrant like roses and light. The moon shone in my cell, but I was alone, for Jesus was nowhere in sight. I stretched my arms wide. No one here, so hushed. I queried the wall, no reply. Only razor-cord rays from dark corners they rushed, and their lance pierced my side in their flight. Where are you, Lord? I screamed at the gate. A smoke as of incense the moon now trails. I touched my body and my hands. Oh, what fate carried the deep scars of his nails. A lesser-known poet, I mean, there are many poets who have written excellent religious poems. Kostaki Ioannis comes to mind, so does Nikifor Krajnik, among others. A lesser-known one, but just as good as the others in my opinion, is Benone Butescu, and I will recite his poem, Although I have never beholden you close, but only pictured you through the starry ways, the image of your beauty, O Lord, I hold unceasingly before my gaze. Although I have never heard you utter to me a word to soothe or to constrain, your voice always resounds in my heart like harmonies of flowers and of rain. The wounds from the crown of thorns on your forehead, the wounds of the nails which pinned you on that tree, I feel them how they ache in my body, although your touch is still so far from me. But beyond any miracle of this old earth, in my life's journey so arduous and split, is the fact astoundingly that you have loved me, although I have never been worthy of it. And finally, a very short poem by the contemporary poet. Is probably younger than us, maybe some of us not. From Timișoara, Robert Cerban. I suggest you seek him out on the internet if you don't know about him. From one cross to another, Jesus has moved billions of times. Soon he will be crucified on mine too. We will sit back to back, and he will ask me, which ones of the thieves have you been? Which one of the thieves will you be?
Lyrics by Tuba Ogesi, who I think is one of the subtlest and richest.
De-abia plecaseși, te-am rugat să pleci. Te urmăream de-a lungul molate cipoteci. Până ai pierit în capăt printre foi. Nu te-ai uitat odată înapoi.
See some of you know it, come along and sing. You had just left. I begged you to depart. My gaze had followed you along the winding path. You vanished through the clover at the end of the track. Not even once did you turn to look back. I would have waved at you as you withdrew. But what's away from the distant shadows blue? I wanted you to go, wanted you to stay. You took my first thought, you walked away. My wordless plea to stop was all in vain. Why did you go? But why would you remain? Na 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 na
Dintr-un bolovan coboară pasul tău de domnișoară, într-o frunză verde Hvala, pasul tău, pe Lunșoară.
Now, morning, I'm going to need your help at the end of the song, all right? And I want a bit more help than I've received so far. So I'll let you know when to join. You're descending from a boulder, and you walk like a belladonna, like a green leaf, pale and tender, and you walk like a belladonna. From a dusk that's getting darker, and you walk like a belladonna, like a bitter twittering warbler, and you walk like a belladonna. Just 1 second, I was spotted as he beckoned, red bow tie around his neck and my heart sinking slowly reckoned. Just 1 second, I was spotted as he beckoned, red bow tie around his neck and my heart sinking slowly reckoned. May you linger with your walking on my eardrums. They are knocking like a demigod, and then, oh, I can feel my health declining. I lie down, and long I speak, Bella be less prosaic. I'm the stunted sunshine bleak, gaudy guilt and mosaic. Your step is passing, I remain. Your step is passing, I remain. Echo me. Pasul trece.
Eu rămân.
Come on. Pasul trece. Can you do that? Pasul trece.
Pasul trece.
Eu rămân.
Eu rămân.
Pasul trece.
Pasul trece.
Eu rămân.
Eu rămân.
Pasul trece.
Pasul trece.
Eu rămân.
Eu rămân.
Pasul trece.
Pasul trece.
Eu rămân. Double time. Pasul trece. Eu rămân. 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 Pasul trece. Eu rămân.
With that, our program is finishing. I'm going to invite Aurelia to give us instructions for the rest of the program, but thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and for enduring 2 hours. I understand that there is some exciting stuff coming along for those who stay behind, but I don't want to speak out of turn because Aurelia is the boss and I don't want to be punished. I no longer enjoy punishment as I used to in my younger days.
Thank you so much for that. It was wonderful. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. How to follow. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this lovely serata, how we call it in Romanian, and I hope to see many more happening between the Academy and our association. Now, with the proceedings being nearing the finish, I promise that I'll keep it short in the beginning, but then I thought we have to thank everyone for being here and being together with us and enjoying these moments. Thank you everyone for coming. And we have to thank our artists. What a wonderful, what an immersive experience we had. Thank you very much, Daniel, much appreciated. And our poets, and of course our lovely ladies, Aliona, or Helen, Maria, Elena, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. course, we had recently in October we had a development which I hope is going to be something that everyone is happy about. We established the Romanian Association, Doina Queensland. That is a cultural association. The specific purposes of the associations are basically to support and promote our culture and tradition. And do not forget about our language, our special occasions during the year, and how we have a way of celebrating everything, of loving every single saints' days and all of those beautiful traditions that we have. This association has been established for each and every one of you to be part of and give something back to our children. Leave them with a heritage here in this down under land and enjoy every moment in the company of such a beautiful community. So I would like to invite you all to think about being part of it and making it your own. This is what this for. Everyone should be coming with their own ideas, their own influence, and let's make it our association as a community. I would love to have you all on board, and obviously we're all friends here. I think I know almost everyone, and hope that this is going to strengthen our friendship and obviously our community. So the second most important, one of the most important roles of the association is to provide us with a voice in the social context, in the political context, everywhere else. This is a non-political and non-religious association. However, the members and the association will have a duty to help our members and help us have a better future for us and our children in this society down under. So, if you want to know more, we have already all this fancy stuff, constitutions, objects of incorporation and things like that. And we will provide you with the opportunity to take memberships if you like, and basically come along for the ride and participate in various activities with your own ideas and your own influence. Now, I'm sorry for taking that long for the speech, but the committee that we have already for the association has been doing a wonderful job, has been meeting every week, and we've done a tremendous amount of work in a very short span of time. The committee is all here. If you want to get up to and for everyone to see. So I think only Dana is not here. If you don't mind, I will take this little bit of time with the proceedings. If you don't mind to come over to have a photo taken with us, because it will go on the website and it would be lovely to have you. And also it's for the benefit of the community, so everyone knows who to talk to and how to go about it. We have the treasurer, Gabi Fri, and we have our secretary, Simona, and Livio and Mariana obviously are part of it, and so is Diana. And we won't forget Dana, who is keeping us safe, but she can't be here at the moment. And obviously Madalena, and she's on duty as usual, but we won't forget her. Thank you everyone for being there for us and helping this community. I would also like to acknowledge some special guests that we have here. We have Father Romanescu. Thank you very much for coming. Doamna Vasi, of course, I apologize. Doamna Vasi is part of our community. And I was going to also introduce you a very special guest, Father Stephens, who is here to give us a bit of an overview of a fantastic project that is happening in Brisbane, and that is the establishment of an Orthodox school right here in Brisbane. So, Father, if you would like to say a few words, you are welcome.
First, I just want to say congratulations to the organisers of this night. I'm not even close. I am a Russian Orthodox priest, but my parents are from Egypt. It's very confusing. But my wife is Russian, so that's enough. I just want to let you know that this particular night is exactly why we're establishing the school. It's not simply an Orthodox school, it's a classical Orthodox school, which is there to expose our children to this kind of wonderful culture. I'm not sure if you know, but in the Australian curriculum, all poetry has been stripped. And you cannot have an education without poetry. The school that we're establishing is the St. John of Kronstadt Academy. It is starting next January from Prep to Year 3. And then we'll be adding a year as we go along. Enrollments are open for students. We have capacity in grades P and Prep and 1. 2 and 3, I think, is almost at full capacity. But this is going to be a school where we teach the liberal arts and the great books. And we go back to the way of education that worked for over 2,000 years and produced some of the greatest thinkers of our time. And that includes, and some of you may be surprised, our children are going to be learning Latin, for example, to start off. They're going to actually be learning history, which is again not taught in Australian schools, like actual ancient, medieval, modern history. Things that are not present in the Australian curriculum. And so what I'm seeing tonight is exactly what I want my students to see. And I'm just wondering, when I saw the book, the first thing I thought was, we need a copy for our school, because how great would it be for our students to be reading some Romanian poetry? This would be wonderful. So I have some pamphlets. As I said, it is a pan-Orthodox school. It's open to all Orthodox families. Applications are open now. We have a website, and there's more information on the website. But as it's November, time is running out, and I need to finalise numbers. I'm the head of the school, and also we'll be praying weekly liturgy with the children. Every Wednesday morning will be liturgy. It's fundamental that they learn that Christ is the centre of everything. So if you have any other questions, I don't want to hold up this wonderful night. Thank you very much.
Things to say, and then Aurelia, and then we are done. We go to the good stuff. I really want to thank Aurelia. She's been the nexus, if you like, of this happening, and her energy and drive has made this possible. Okay, thank you very much. Got me on Facebook and invited me to a function which was organized, I think, by herself and by Mrs. Vasi Romanescu. Somewhere on the Gold Coast, and I was amazed by what I saw there. And I want to thank Father Romanescu and Mrs. Vasi Romanescu for the community you have built around. And I've been around. I've been in New Zealand for 10 years, 9 years, Brisbane, a long time ago before any of you were here, Sydney, and so on. And rarely do you see such good, healthy, industrious and cooperative communities. I hope you value what you have. That's what I want to say. I hope you value